What's up, Coffee Crew? Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 37. Yeah, I thought I'd
You
start.
started soft.
Sorry?
You started soft.
I started stopping. Yeah, it's just that, it's Mother's Day today, and I thought I'd start things a little more mellow. Happy Mother's Day to you, beautiful mothers out there, and then even the ones that are like mothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, guys, welcome back. We're so happy to have you again joining us. It feels like forever, but it's only been a week and a couple days.
Yeah.
But we're so stoked for this new series. Our previous two series, if you're new to the podcast, we do bi-monthly, if that makes sense, series on different aspects of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the first month that we did it was Never Stop Brewing. Second was Coffee is Better Together, ironically.
Yeah.
And then this month we're actually doing Creative Juice, which Creative Juice, and we're gonna dive a bit more deep into it, which basically is gonna be just the creative aspect of coffee, where in the coffee world you see a lot of creativity popping up, right? You see a lot of baristas. There are even people that go to coffee shops to create. They go to coffee shops to draw. They go to coffee shops to do work.
Yeah.
That is still a form of being creative and figuring things out, right? And so that's the kind of area we want to kind of speak on creativity. And we're going to have super cool guests, and they're going to talk about how they exercise creativity in their personal lives and work, outside of work, in their coffee business, or even their photography, whatever it is. But basically, guys, we're going to dive more into it. But we're all creative in one way or another. So we're going to, hopefully, if you guys maybe feel that you're not creative, or you don't have anything that you can create with, whatever it is, hopefully this series will help you guys either discover your creativity, or even kind of just enforce your creativeness right now. So George, take us away, bro.
Some tips and tricks.
Yeah, man.
So I don't know why I thought it'd be funny to go on Wikipedia and just see what people have written about creativity.
Reliable source.
And yeah, exactly. And I like what somebody wrote, whoever this was. Creativity is a phenomenon whereby something new and somehow valuable is formed. So it's like, I like the way they wrote that, a phenomenon whereby, so like the creativity is like the process of how something or something new somehow was valuable is formed.
Nice.
The created item may be intangible, something such as an idea, a scientific theory, a musical composition, or even a joke, or a physical object such as an invention, a printed literary work, or a painting.
Wow.
So obviously so many different avenues and like different ways that you can go into it. And then the outright definition is just the use of imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artistic work.
Nice.
So let's start it off. What is creativity to you, Mini?
Damn.
Oh, dang. What was it? Straight to me. Okay.
Straight to it.
For me, creativity is just being able to be yourself and let out your ideas, like in different ways. I think, yeah, it's just letting out your ideas and your passions and putting them towards something.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good.
Like that?
Yeah, it's cool. I think SpongeBob said it best. Imagination. And I just kind of
But how do you say it though?
imagination. That's weird. Anyways, SpongeBob. Yeah, I really like how, like, for example, the analogy. I'm just playing. Like, in the box, he could make it be whatever he wanted it to be. So in that
Crazy
same
world.
yeah, and even Squidward were like, don't think about SpongeBob. We're like freak out because it's like, how are they doing all these things?
Yeah,
But anyways, I think creativity is for us, for me at least, is like to create something out of nothing, or you have something in your mind, whether it was inspired from something else. Like it says original, right? But I think that's so hard to come up with something very, very original because it's always inspired, at least for me. So I think like being inspired by something else, and then kind of, like how Minnie said, just putting it out there and creating it, making it come alive.
And making it your own.
Yeah, and making it your own, exactly. What about you, George?
Interesting. Especially, well, definitely what you guys said, both. I think another avenue of that would be, like, for me, sometimes I see it as like ways to think about things in new ways. And
Nice.
like, I think especially when it comes to like problem solving, something like stuff that we do even outside of like coffee stuff, but like stuff that has to do with like music or sound. Sometimes like you just don't have everything available to you,
Yeah.
so you have
That's
to
true.
use what you have, and use it wisely, and
That's
just
a big
get
one.
creative with it. Get
Yeah.
creative, and like maybe I don't have this crazy computer that I need, but okay, what do I have that I can use to solve this problem that I have.
That's a good
So
one.
Yeah.
that's like creativity that stands out to me the most is in that way, of course. But also for me, creativity is just like the way, even if it's not to solve a problem, but just the way to see the picture different ways. So even that could mean like new perspectives, stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to ask you guys what it meant. I wanted to dive into some like different areas that we could talk about. Someone would be like a business. So could you guys see creativity being used in a business? How would that, be used?
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. I think that kind of ties into this one, which is like problem solving. I think, I'm not a business owner, right? But I've kind of been around and exposed to that, right, through Eric and all that, people that we know, and being kind of like in the front line of it. But when kind of how you said, if we want to do this, right, but it requires that, okay, how can we still accomplish that without having that resource, right? So you create your own resources, or you figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So I think in a business world where maybe we can't afford to hire a full-time video audio engineer, so then we figure it out and we learn and we get creative with it. We're like, okay, this button right here or whatever, for example, right? Yeah. This button right here makes the audio do this, whatever. Okay, cool. So right there, you're being creative because you're starting to play around with the mics, play around with the audio, we play around with the lighting. So we're creating like an atmosphere, what's it called, setting even. So in that, I'm talking more like for coffee crew stuff, but even for like businesses, then when you create an experience for someone, right, that's still being creative. Yeah. Because you're taking that customer through from beginning to end, right? From when they walk, from when they stand outside of your business to when they walk in, get whatever the service they're being provided, and then the way out, right? So it's a whole service that you're creating for them. So I think like with that, you have to be creative. For example, like if I can even shout out that it's called Good People Coffee or something like that. I believe it's called Good People Coffee. It's like with the little raccoon thing. But they did with the whole COVID-19, like for the 6 feet social distancing, they made like all colorful, right? So it's like it's no more like boring exits than here, but it's getting creative with it. And like at least like to make you smile, it's all colorful as like in blocks, right?
And it worked because you remembered.
And it's true. Like, and you can see it visually.
They gave you a different experience.
So I think it's like a necessity to be creative for business owners. Yeah, write that one down.
I know. I'm like, dang, okay.
I'll give you that one for free.
I'll give that one for free. Check out my seminar.
Definitely, I think in business you have to be creative kind of to survive, because like you have to create ways to separate yourselves from competition.
True.
In the marketing, that's like you especially have to be creative. Like you don't want to just blend in with everyone else. So especially, you look at what your competition is doing, or like just what other businesses are doing for marketing, and you kind of want to create something. Look at that. Okay, look what they're doing. Okay, now what can I do to do that but make it better and make it new? Own. Yeah, make it your own. Right. Like where you separate yourselves. So I think that plays a big role in business. So
can I add something to that? I thought about right now when you said that, like your experiences and like your upbringing is gonna like kind of influence like your creative like whatever comes out, like whatever you do things. Obviously, right, like your upbringing and what you were exposed to. Kind of how like we were talking about music, right? Where like if you're exposed to jazz and blues as opposed to like regular like alternative rock, whatever, your music styles are going to be completely different, or even like your understanding of music. That's insane. That's a good one, Minnie.
Sure. But yeah, that's fine.
Good one. Kind of had the same thing as you, Lalo, with the whole like especially with startup businesses that we've been around. Definitely seen that, but I think one more way that I was thinking about it was like if you see like the businesses that have like stood the test of time, or like kind of like been out on the forefront of their industry, they're always like so creative in the way that they give you their experience and in the way that they
adapt even
and represent themselves. Like like when you think of Disney, you think of you already have 1,000 images in your head because like you know what Disney is. Same thing with all these other things, but I think that creativity, just like to make yourself stand out, I think it's invaluable, because obviously everybody's different. So if you try to be somebody else, then obviously you're not going to stand out. But I don't know, it's starting to sound preachy, but I don't know, I like that aspect because, you know, there's a million coffee shops and
For real.
you got to stand out in some way, you know, and
Yeah.
you serve your customers a certain way or give them the experience a certain way, and you get to determine that, you know, as a business owner. So I think, you know, being creative in that space is such a cool thing, like to have that opportunity.
True.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's super cool. And another one that I wanted to talk about really quick, obviously, is art, creativity and art, and just I have never been I suck at drawing. I think I did a little bit when I was a kid, but I suck at drawing. And to think like the reason why I wanted to talk about art is because it goes in so many ways, like even with like abstract art or even like, you know, this art where like people pay millions and millions of dollars for, like, obviously we're all different and like maybe I can't appreciate the full extent of it,
Right.
but somebody else can. And that's something
right.
that I love about that space of art. Just that people can get so creative, like insane ways that it's like literally endless.
Endless,
Like
yeah.
where like you see there was this show that just came out on this guy Duncan Trussell, he's a comedian, did the show, and basically in this world, like his character, every time he goes into a new world, he's a different avatar. So the writers for the show have to constantly come out with new characters for this guy to be an avatar of.
Wow.
Right? So you have to constantly create new guys. And something that's so interesting that I didn't even think about was like the people who write the costumes for it, they are so like aware of the cosplays and stuff like that they care so much about it that they're like, but you know, in this cosplay, if somebody acts as this person or you know, puts a costume on of this avatar, they won't have anything to hold, so I'm gonna give them a backpack so that when they go do cosplay,
yeah.
they can they can have a backpack. And something like that I was thinking, I was like, dude, it's so insane, like how the extent of
How
like
detailed they
of
get.
how, like, especially
They're
artists
thinking
like,
already ahead.
so insane.
That's crazy.
It's so insane. Another one that we're talking about was technology.
Oh.
What do you guys think about that one?
Technology? Like the
Creativity,
business technology or like using
Just
technology?
Technology, yeah.
Well, I think the resources now to be creative with technology, like you don't need a laptop to create a video, to create an image. Like all these apps that are coming that just keep making it easier and easier.
Yeah.
Like I just saw an ad for I'm not even gonna shout out the bank company, but I just saw an ad. I hate her. No, I just saw an ad, but it's called it's called Videos, but it's like spelled differently, like all weird. But basically, it's like how to create super fancy like video by yourself with just the app, and like you just do like all these things, and it does like those crazy YouTube intros and everything, all within the app. Whereas like some people had to learn the long way and like do all these tweaks
with,
and
like,
that.
web pages,
Web design, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, but I think right now they're marketing on that so big because right now everybody is like picking up a mic, picking up a podcast, picking up like live videos now, right?
Yeah.
So I just like the accessibility and like the reach with social media, like to showcase if you want to your creativeness, like it's endless now. So it is like it's easy. So now you gotta figure out a different way to stand out in social media. It's so crazy, man. It's like it's harder. It was harder for people to be known back then.
It's cool. It's like everybody has a chance now. Like literally, if you have a smartphone, you have the ability to reach so many people. Like literally at your fingertips.
Like back then, you had to go to a record label and like
get an agent
and hope they'll get your CD though. Like, you know what I mean? Like now you just you don't even need a record label. Even no, it's another business. Dude.
I didn't know this until I was listening to this podcast about this guy. I listened to this guitar podcast, but anyways. He was talking about how so many like people have records out that were paid for by a record company, and they just never released them.
Because
there's
they
millions.
thought it wasn't gonna sell.
Yeah, they just didn't, or like a deal fell through, or like they were like, nah, we don't feel you guys anymore as much.
That's crazy.
But like there's millions and millions of like records that have been made that have just never been released,
and they own it, so they can't even release it.
And they can't release it on their own. Yeah,
that's insane.
Isn't that insane? Like I didn't even know that. One that I wanted to bring up with technology. I think it brings you back to the whole thing that I was talking about in the beginning about using or finding ways to solve problems. That's why I always love that movie, Robots. See a need, fill a need. You know, like when there's...
I was thinking about... For a second,
iRobot.
I was like, wait a minute, bro. It's starting creepy.
No, robots. You know, see a need, fill a need. He's the inventor, right? Like with technology, it's like so many things that were created to fill a need, to
Simplify,
there was a problem
facilitate.
and somebody fixed it with technology.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, like one that I was just thinking about and it like escaped my mind. But so many, so many different, like a light bulb. There was a problem. Somebody fixed it, you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling 1,000 miles away without having to wait, you know, like do a month
Within hours,
travel.
an hour, a week.
You know, so many things where like technology have, you know, solved so many problems
Mm-hmm.
and also started a couple.
Started, yeah.
But that's why I love technology too. Is just the creativity that comes with that. It's just so many problems that you can solve with technology, or using, you know, your resources to create something to then solve that. But
True.
yeah, I don't know if you had anything to add, Minnie.
No, I just think, well, like Lala was saying, it doesn't matter, like, if you don't have a computer and you want to make videos, if you don't have a camera and you want to be a video creator, like, all you need is your phone nowadays. Like, and you can do anything. You can record a podcast. You can make music. Like, it's everything in a phone.
No excuse.
There really is no excuse to learn anything, really.
Yeah, exactly. One that I wanted to talk about was food, just because that one is so close to our family. But you've been starting to cook lately, Chef, a little bit more.
Chef Boyardee.
Can you speak a little bit about cooking and creativity?
That just I feel like every like creative outlet has kind of the same like recipes, even like not to be like it's kind of to be like ironic, right? But they all have like recipes, like kind of for like music, right? You have these are the notes you can work with to make music. The same for a dish, right? These are the ingredients, and you have to get creative because you've been watching Guys Grocery Games on Hulu, which is really good. Like an ad, but it's really good because these are like top chefs, and they're being challenged by saying you can only use this, and that, and then
make nachos with no nacho cheese.
And then no, for real. And then they're like, okay, make a high end dish, not with this. So like some people will use the cheese off of pizza, frozen pizza, and use that for their cheese. So anyways, going back to the thing where it's like crazy. It's all recipes now, where you know what you can work with and you make your food. So I think like it's all kind of correlated with like creativeness, kind of like the same with photography, right? Okay, I have this shadow and I have this object. What angle can I hit it? Whereas like, well, I don't know so much about photography, but just the kind of like very very basic. But that's the way I could see it. Kind of like everything has its like recipes, like its little guidelines, but then you can just go around it. But cooking, it's fun. I mean, I haven't done it lately, but it's really like soothing, and then obviously the most rewarding part is when you do all this work and then at the end you have this dish, and even if it tastes okay, but you're like, I made this dish from nothing, which goes back to like creating, right? Where you make something out of nothing, which I think that's always kind of like with video editing and anything you make, the end process, like, oh man, it's rewarding, right? Yeah. But for me, like since I have been cooking more and I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying it like twice. It's like so fascinating to me because literally like you can follow a recipe, but really like you can do in cooking, there's really not many rules. You can go like you get creative, like, okay, let me look at my fridge, like, okay, I only have this. Now what can I create out of this? What can I make? It's kind of like struggle right there. Struggle recipe. Or like you don't want to go to the it's like ramen. You create like whatever you want, and you can just, I don't know. I think cooking is crazy. Go ahead, sorry. Oh no, go. No, go ahead. Oh no, but you can. But yeah, you can just. Yeah. Like for me, I've been, like when you're cooking, you're like, okay, this tastes good. Like, oh, you see something random on the side, like, hey, this might be good in there, and you put it in, and it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I've been loving cooking. I'm just getting like really fired up because the more that I think about it, the more that I realize how much creativity is around us. Like even my mom, because I started joking around, but really like the struggle, where like let's say like you can't buy groceries or payday, right? And you have what you have in the fridge, how you were saying, you're like, okay, how do I make a meal for 6 people out of this, and that? Okay, red rice with bananas. Yeah. Like I'm just saying, saying like you see all these bizarre foods that are now like street food or like nice, delicious, right? But that was like people's like way of like surviving and making things out of nothing. So that takes creativity. Like sometimes struggle, like brings out the creativeness in you, where you can't afford a camera, you can't afford a ring light or whatever, but you figure out things. Okay, I can only record in the daytime, whatever. I don't know. Like it brings out like the creativeness in you to figure it out.
Food is crazy. Like it brings back memories, like
Oh, it's
everything.
true.
Like when you're cooking, the smell of something. It's like
a trip. Huh?
it's like all the senses.
Like a song.
Literally, it's
for
crazy.
real. A song. Like in Guy's grocery games. Going back to it. Like you can
Sorry.
you can hit like a childhood memory, how you were saying, of a judge in this case, right? By maybe cooking what their grandmother used to cook for them on like very specific too, like after school lunch, whatever, after school dinner. You just hit that little memory lane. You take them on a trip where now you just touch their sentimental, their taste buds, their brain, whatever.
Like their
smell
everything.
everything.
Research the judges beforehand.
Yeah, research.
Find out their
like, banana with fried rice.
I
That's
haven't ate that
good
in a
though.
while.
That's
Actually.
bomb, bro.
No, for real.
If you know, you know.
Something that I love about baking, not that I do it, but that just amazes me, is that with other things you can use the ingredients as you were saying, but they're still the same ingredients. Like I don't want to use music, something else, but like if you have this ingredient and you put it into it and you mix it all together, it's the same ingredient. You can still take it out. When you bake, when you make a cake, take that egg out. And you can't. It turns into something else.
Yeah.
I think that's what blows my head, like with like baking especially, because you make a cake, you make a cookie, those eggs are gone, the flour is gone. I mean, it's in there, but you could never, disassemble it and be like, oh, here's my eggs back.
Right.
That's the part that blows my brains out.
You create into a new thing. Basically.
Yeah, and it's. Who started that? Like who had the creativity to be like, yeah, I'm gonna put some eggs, some flour,
mixing and all that.
Yeah, exactly, and to put it together.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's yeah.
And that one is crazy because you really do create something out of nothing. Because flour is like flour, like but like if you use a vegetable, you can still eat that no matter what. But like flour and that kind of stuff, you have to create.
Like by itself is it's almost nothing.
Exactly. Like if you cook it, like some broccoli together with some rice, like. You can still take the broccoli out. You can take the rice out.
It'll stand on its
own. But with baking, it's a whole. Like obviously, it's like chemicals, right? It's like chemical compounds. Like you make something new.
Yeah.
Like it's not the same thing that it was before. Right. But, anyways,
that's pretty tight about baking.
I know. Me too.
Nah, not really.
Top chef.
The cleaning part is the worst part, man.
I know.
Just believe that.
Do you guys ever find yourselves in creative stumps?
Good question.
Go on.
Yeah, I think. If you're not like, sometimes you get so caught up in like wanting to create that you forget to like also absorb other people's creativeness or absorb other content, right? I think that's always, I heard that believe it or not, I'm not gonna say it, but I heard it from a YouTuber, how like this person will spend time to just sit down and watch TV, not just because it's like entertaining, but also because like you also receive creativity or different ideas from other people and outside inspiration. Yeah. So I think sometimes like if I feel like stuck, like man, like what kind of video can I make, or what else can I, for like even for like music, sometimes you play the same chords. So like, how do you get out of that? Is you learn different stuff, right? The same way for like video stuff or anything like that. I think always like learning is gonna open up another possibility. So like it's kind of like adding tools to your what's it called?
Belt.
Your
belt
toolkit.
Yeah, sure. Shed. Yeah. Exactly.
Shed.
So I think that's like keep adding more like knowledge. It's gonna open up, because if you only know this much, then you're missing out on all these other possibilities on this side. So unless
all these other tools.
Yeah. So unless you expand that knowledge, then you can open up the possibilities.
Did you say tool belt, Mini?
Yeah, add another tool.
You Batman, homie?
No, add another.
I think it is tool belt.
It is. Add another tool to your belt.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
You know, like the tool belts.
Yeah.
Okay.
We believe you, Mini.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
I think I struggle with this a lot, like creative blocks, but it's not that I like lose creativity. It's that like I've noticed is like I get so frustrated because when I create something, like when I do a visual or something, like I want perfection. Yeah. But like for me, obviously, like I'm like, oh no, and like I don't like it or something, and then that's when I start feeling like, okay, I'm like I'm not creative. Like what is like I'm not happy with what is coming out, but
Yeah.
at the time I'm still creating. That makes sense.
Yeah. No,
But yeah, that's how I get creative blocks. It's like I try too hard.
you overkill it.
I overthink it and
Overwork
You're
it.
beating that dead horse,
basically.
right?
He's
No.
dead, man. Stop beating it,
The
bro.
horse.
But basically, yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And then it gets me like in this thing like, okay, I'm done. Like I can't create right now. I have
Yeah.
to wait. But yeah, that's how I do.
But that's true. Like yesterday with the visual.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
no,
you're on
no.
the throat.
No,
You're getting called out.
Listen,
man.
though, no, it's because like so she makes our like our visuals for Coffee Crew stuff, right? Like for Coffee Crew and for like even church things also. But so like she was doing this visual and I was doing this video, and that video took me an hour. And when I was doing that video, she was doing that visual. I'm like, Minnie, I edited a whole video and now we're doing the visual. But it's because sometimes like she'll like overthink the idea, or
Mhm.
sometimes like just do it, put it out there, and that's it. Like don't touch it, because sometimes like when you start overthinking, you're like, oh, it could need that, it could use that, it could
Yeah.
use that. Then you just like you completely like start to depreciate your
Yeah,
work.
that's
So
exactly.
You put too much salt.
yeah, you put too much. You get it's because you get lost in the sauce, man. Don't get lost in the sauce,
Put
man.
too much salt on the
Yeah.
chicken,
See.
bro.
Juice, sauce is temporary, but juice is forever. I think it's backwards, but I said it the other way because creative juice. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But yes,
Take
I
that
do.
tool out of your belt, homie.
Take
I'm gonna
grammar.
take it out, bro.
Take grammar out of your tool belt.
Oh man.
No, yeah, but
I get creative stuff too. I think it's I think sometimes like when you start doing something and it stops being fun,
yeah,
Mhm.
oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's
true.
when you gotta separate yourself from a little from it. I
Mhm.
think like I don't know, I'm very that way too anyways with like trying new things. I
Yeah.
like to try new things, and then like sometimes it just starts getting to be like work. And if it's not something obviously that you don't want to do, then why are you forcing yourself
Mhm.
to do it just
True.
because you like said, oh, I'm gonna learn how to do this, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that is good, right? Having discipline, but there's a difference between like torturing yourself just because you have pride and you said you were gonna learn this thing,
Facts.
or like learning it because you want to learn and it's something that genuinely interests you. Something I wrote down, a couple of just like 4 points that I wrote that helped me to get out of like stumps is finding inspiration. So
Nice.
whether it be
Mhm.
music, art, movies, TV, you know what Lala was saying earlier, it's all art, and you get inspiration from everywhere,
Mhm.
anywhere and everywhere. Talking or meeting with peers, that helps me a lot. I don't know if that helps
It's a
you guys.
good one, yeah.
Even just talking out ideas with other people, or just
Mhm.
giving them the idea and tell me like, hey, what can you come up with? Like, how do you see it? Like, what's the perspective that you have? Sometimes just getting different perspectives helps.
That helps. Well,
Um,
just feedback on that, or piggyback on that. There's times where like, you have the idea in your head, whatever idea. It doesn't have to be like with those creative artistic outlets, but you have an idea in your head, and in your head it might make sense, but then once you comes down to do it, it doesn't make sense. But when you share it with somebody, you're like, hey, I have this idea, boom, boom, boom,
Mhm.
boom, and then it could be something as simple as like, okay, but what about this part? And like, oh shoot, it doesn't even work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So or like it wouldn't work for that thing, whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, you're right. Like speaking it out, like I think it's helped me a lot too. Where kind of seeing it like as you, because if you can speak it out and share it and they can understand it, then
Yeah.
it's, I don't know. I agree with that.
Yeah, especially with ideas that you love or so passionate about, because you
Are stuck on it kind of thing.
yeah, and I think you're so like crazy about them that you don't see the little pitfalls.
Mhm.
And
a good
you
one.
might be like a little blind to them, but then if you share them with other people,
Yeah.
Yeah,
they can help you see the light, I guess.
it's a good one.
Um,
Really good.
another one that I wrote is going outside of your comfort zone, finding something new to try, or some like painting, whatever it may be.
That's cool.
Directing a movie, whatever that may be, finding a new music genre. For me, always helps out, especially if I'm working on something at the time and then I go and do something else. When I come back to it, it helps a lot. I've noticed that like sometimes like even with like whether it be like video editing or like anything really, like soccer, anything like
Mhm.
that, like when you leave and you come back, it's almost like you have like a refreshed look on it again, and
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
that helps out a lot. I don't know if you guys
Yeah, exactly. I
Mhm.
say your mind starts getting hot. You need to go
yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
let it cool down a bit and then come back to it.
Yeah.
Like kind of going back, beating a dead horse, right?
Mhm.
No, like you just
Yeah.
Damn.
like what if you beat it a different way? Then maybe like
No, it's so
with
dead.
Maybe
the
not the best analogy, but
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing that I wanted to hit really quick. This is a little excerpt, I guess if you want to call it. There's a site called jamesclear.com. I didn't really read any other stuff other than this on his website
Nice.
or their website.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just about creativity. I don't know what I really didn't research anything, but I just like this article that they wrote. It's called Creativity: How to Unlock Your Hidden Creative Genius.
Nice.
And something that he talked about was about this guy in 1940, an advertising executive named James Webb Young, published a short guide called A Technique for Producing Ideas. And in this book, he kind of talks about like basically the creative process, right? And these 5 points that he hit, like I thought were really, really cool. So I want to share those with you guys. So first one is gathering new material. At first you learn. During this stage, you focus on learning specific material directly related to your task and learning general material by becoming fascinated with a wide range of concepts. So first you learn like what if like let's say you're out to do video editing, right? You learn what is Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, all these things, right? And then become fascinated with the range of concepts in that. And then number 2, thoroughly work over the materials in your mind. During this stage, you may examine what you have learned by looking at the facts from different angles and experimenting with fitting various ideas together. So this is what we were talking about earlier about talking to other people. They sometimes bring different perspectives,
Yeah.
ideas to the table. Step number 3, step away from the problem. Next, you put the problem completely out of your mind and go do something else that excites you and energizes you. There's been times where I stopped playing guitar for a couple of days, and when I come back, my thinking has been refreshed immensely.
Damn.
That's something that they
That's
wrote in the book.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like when you're practicing the same thing and then you keep getting stuck on this certain part,
Yeah.
and then you'll come back the next day and then you got it down because you just needed that.
Exactly.
Little
Yeah.
refreshing.
Back away.
It's funny that he referenced guitar. Anyways, number 4, let your idea return to you at some point, but only after you have stopped thinking about it. Your idea will come back to you with a flash of insight and renewed energy.
Damn.
That light bulb, ding.
Yeah.
And then number 5, shape and develop your idea based on feedback. For any idea to succeed, you must release it out into the world, submit it to criticism, and adapt as needed.
Wow.
So it's crazy, like all these things that we talked about, like we do on the daily. Like I really implore you, anybody out there that just trying to find something new, creative, or wants to get better at their craft, whatever that may be. I really find these steps like to be really helpful, and I mean, sky's the limit.
Yeah,
That's
for real.
You know what I was thinking right now? It's that talking about creativity is when we just filmed that video, the Bruin video. When I was looking at the AeroPress, I'm like, how did somebody come up with like
This brew method.
this brew method? Like how
Right.
how like creative people are getting with coffee is like every day I see something new. I'm like, what?
There's even more new
Like
things,
what the heck? So imagine like in a year, in another year, like how many more brew methods there'll be, how many more recipes there'll be. It's
That's like the
crazy.
perfect say a need, fill a need. It's like the whole like I need a portable way to make my coffee without having to have glass or it's gonna break in my bag.
That's true.
All this stuff, and it's like, all right, here's AeroPress.
That's crazy.
And then they combine
Go nuts.
technology and coffee, and they have self-pouring pour overs or something like that.
For real.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I think everyone can be creative, whereas actually sometimes you're being creative without even knowing you're being creative. Kind of like I was saying about necessity thing. So I think that it's just kind of like being. I think hopefully this will be like more help us, all of us, be more aware of like our creativeness and kind of push us to be even more creative or push our boundaries and all that stuff.
What's funny is about that is we kind of talked about creativity one time on the
first
past
episodes.
podcast, and I remember like before I was telling Lala like I'm not creative, like what the heck am I gonna talk about? And I think like my answer is like I get creative in makeup and like fashion because I literally thought
you brought it up, not me.
I swore like I wasn't creative, and then then I think about it, I'm like
it's still
first of all it's still, no, but first like marketing is super creative, like just like things you do on a daily basis are creative, like even when you make a plan, like do a plan out of anything, like you're getting creative, like literally every person is very creative.
I see some crazy makeup though on like Instagram, like
no,
I'm serious, it looks like
makeup is creative,
freaking like 3D dimensional figures, like it's crazy.
Like hot Cheeto faces and all stuff.
That's why I felt
Hot
bad.
Cheetos.
That's why I felt bad saying like.
Yeah, I seen one when people do like hot Cheeto.
Somebody did a hot Cheeto
like
face?
concept. Yeah,
Mhm.
I seen it.
They go crazy. That's why I felt bad last time saying I creative in makeup because my makeup is like not. There's no color. But yeah,
Yeah.
everyone is creative.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we implore you guys to maybe like make it a goal to every day say I'm gonna create one thing, whether it's could be as small as whatever, planning your day,
Yeah.
but at least you created that whole schedule for yourself and
Yeah.
have some grades for yourself.
True.
But yeah, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. This is the first episode of the Creative Juice series, guys. We got some really cool guests coming up these next couple weeks. So, and then we're gonna be doing live interviews as well. So make sure you guys have the notifications turned on of our Instagram page if you haven't yet. That way you are notified of our live and all that good stuff. So, be excited for that, guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun, a lot of learning for sure. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna be interviewing these people that we all have different perspectives with creativity and even the way we do things. So I think it's gonna be really good for all of us to learn and take in.
I think this series is really gonna get people's like creative juices flowing.
Flowing, yeah,
Like just inspire you to go and do
for
something.
sure. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I forgot to introduce ourselves, but if you're a first-time listener, I'm Lalo. This
Minnie.
is Minnie and George. So
George.
we are your host, and hope you guys are being creative out there. Be safe. We're still doing quarantine, right? So
Yeah.
make sure you guys are staying home and all that good
Right.
stuff. So, right?
Right, guys?
No, for real though. Yeah,
Unless
guys,
you're in-
just
unless you're in like Texas
other
or
countries.
places like that.
I know. So stay safe out there, guys. Reach out to you guys if you guys need anything. We love y'all. Take it easy. Peace out.
Peace out, homies.